So what I want to do today is give you a little bit of a sense of how to understand the M&A process. How do you sort of be proactive? How do you think ahead to it? And also, how do you, in the end, get the right help? Because that's one of the key questions that come up during the M&A process. So most people will say, listen, let's start at the deal. What does a deal look like? And maybe sometimes you'll hear people talk about the approach. You know, how do you get buyers at the table? How do you get involved with potential acquirers? But I like to start all the way at the very beginning with the pipeline. Because what happens with most founders is you don't really think about selling your company or getting involved in an M&A process or planning for it until you're all the way at the approach stage. You're already talking to potential acquirers, maybe you're trying to get people to the table. I would argue that you should start thinking about this at a certain phase, very similarly to how you think about other activities that you do. And you actually think about developing a pipeline. So one of the biggest questions, there's two basically big questions that come out of it. The first one is, when do I start thinking about this? If I'm going to start thinking about this as an early stage company. And the second is how. So when it comes to when, and this is one of the biggest sort of hard things to get your head around as an entrepreneur, you don't want to start too early thinking about M&A for your company. Usually you're building your business, building your team, getting product market fit, trying to grow your business and grow your product, and usually developing an ecosystem around your business. If you're very early stage, say in the seed stage of investing or your Series A, that should be your primary focus. But once you start to develop an ecosystem, once you have partners, once you have real customers, once you're starting to get some kind of flow into your sales process, probably once you're raising around a Series B, for most companies in that sort of segment, it's time to start thinking about how you might be proactive in working through your M&A process. And the reason to be proactive is actually because there's almost no overnight successes when it comes to M&A. There's sort of this myth that the way that companies get acquired is they're repped by a banker maybe, or one founder meets another CEO, and the next thing you know, they do a deal. But the truth is the vast majority of M&A deals, and the vast majority of the deals that I've done in these various roles, come about because of at least a year-long relationship with a founder, right? So you think about some of the best M&A deals ever, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or Apple and Beats, or 3 or 4 of the deals I did, Telepart, Periscope, et cetera. Every single one of these transactions happened because there was a CEO relationship with the founder that was developed over the course of time. So that when that moment came where it made sense for these two companies to come together, for them to do more together than they could apart, the opportunity was already there, the trust was already there, and they could actually execute that transaction quickly. How do you do this? So we talked about the when. Now let's talk about the how. Because one of the biggest problems in this process is you're building your company. You've got a million things going on between team building, customer getting, ecosystem development, what have you, fundraising. This is just one more thing for your plate. So one of the key things is to figure out how to unobtrusively and crisply organize your efforts once you're in that Series B-ish sort of stage, so that you're able to position yourself for these long-term relationships that'll allow you to potentially have an exit if you want one down the road. And I like to use something called an M&A prep sheet. And here's how it works. You basically get together with your management team. You spend 2 or 3 hours on it, usually, very rarely more than that. And you sort of brainstorm together, who are the most likely acquirers of this business? Based on the ecosystem I'm developing, based on our competitive dynamics, based on who else is in our space. And you try to articulate sort of a 1-line or 2-sentence rationale for why that acquirer might be the best one. Once you've done that, you can sort of start to stack rank them. Which ones seem like the best? And generally this process results in sort of 5 or 10 ideas. No more than that. From there, you start to map out a couple of other key things. One, who's your sponsor? Every deal that happens at a big company or any kind of growth stage technology company generally has 2 kind of key components. One is the sponsor, the person who's going to own the deal after the transaction's done. They're the ones who are putting their kind of reputation on the line to say, we should buy this business. The second one is your CorpDev leader. That's the person who's going to sort of help shepherd or organize or drive your process through and make sure everything's done. So one good idea, just like you do with your fundraising process or with finding great customers, is you start to brainstorm who in your network do you know? Who in the network do your board members know, or your advisors, or even yourself? Where you can get to people who might either be a sponsor at these companies you've now sort of highlighted or identified, and who might be the heads of CorpDev. And then you slowly, no more than 1 or 2 meetings a month, you sort of spend time, just a little bit of time, like an hour a month, meeting and systematically developing those relationships, okay? Those companies are organized to want to understand the ecosystems. They want to understand who is building new products and technologies in their spaces. And the CorpDev teams explicitly are there to develop external relationships so that ultimately, if it makes sense to join forces, that opportunity will be there.
Hey everybody, I want to tell you about a great product which you've probably heard about, but maybe you haven't tried yet, and I have tried it and I love it. It has become a big hit in my household with my 7-year-old daughter. It's called blueapron.com. My wife loves it too. Go to blueapron.com/twist and you'll get your first 3 meals free with free shipping. It is an incredible experience. You get a box. It's obviously refrigerated, and all the ingredients and a beautiful menu card and a recipe card of how to make the product. So I've always wanted to make pizza at home. I've never done it. I mean, I made English muffin pizzas. You know, this is what we call Irish pizza when you're growing up in Brooklyn. But they sent a beautiful pizza dough and beautiful sauce and cheese and everything, all perfectly portion sized and an easy to follow recipe. Then the other thing I've always wanted to learn how to cook is General Tso's chicken. That was one of my favorites when I was in New York and I was living on the West Side in Hell's Kitchen. I'd walk home from the Garden after watching the Knicks win a playoff game. I get General Tso's chicken. I never knew how to make it. They give you all the ingredients, a little cornstarch, so all these little syrups, and you, like a little professional chef, everything just goes smoothly. It is an incredible experience. It's also affordable. You get a ton of variety. It's super flexible. You get the deliveries when you want. And it really, I was just amazed by the quality of the bok choy, of the chicken. Everything was the highest quality. And it saves you not only from going to the supermarket, not only from getting a recipe, but also the portion sizes and how to put this all together. It makes cooking delightful again, and they are in partnership with 150 local U.S. farms, fisheries, ranchers, and they, you know, so I'm a big seafood fan, and we love going to the Monterey Bay Aquarium. And when I went there last time, they had this beautiful card that told you which fishes you should order, which are sustainable, but it's very hard to actually get that certified. You know, people lie when they sell you fish. You don't know what you're getting. You don't know if it's actually sustainable or not. And even some of the stuff that's farm raised is actually not good for the environment. Well, you know what? Blue Apron takes all that away. They do all of that important work for your family. And it's very important to our family that we order sustainable stuff and we don't take stuff from the ocean that's not sustainable. It's a big movement amongst considered people. So the fact that they use the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch list to me and their standards is very impressive. Prep is, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. It's super, I mean, we did it faster in some cases, but we're fast cooks. It tastes great. It's easy. It's a better way to cook. It is a better way to cook. And also delicious. I mean, I made this beautiful Sicilian pizza and my daughter ate it all. It was one of those great experiences where she was looking in the oven, counting the minutes. So blueapron.com/twist, blueapron.com/twist, TWIST, and you'll get your first 3 meals free with free shipping. It is amazing. All right, let's get back to this amazing program.